I want to talk about how you can become more confident. This is coming from somebody who isn't extremely confident themselves. You know, a lot of people come across me and they're always like, oh, you're so confident and oh, always able to put out so many videos and you're always able to push yourself to do so many things. But a lot of people don't realize that I'm not the most confident person in the world, but I push myself to be uncomfortable. We always say, oh, well, I want to be confident in, making music, or I want to be confident in being a creator, or I want to be confident in anything in our lives. We want to be confident going to the gym, or we want to be confident like doing so many different things, but we don't force ourselves to be uncomfortable. And what you have to realize is, in order to be confident, you have to force yourself to do the things that make you uncomfortable. You have to force yourself to be the person who does the things that they don't like to do. Now, maybe you don't want to go to the gym, but you want a nice body. Why don't you go to the gym? Because I'm not confident in the body that I have right now, so I don't want to go to the gym because I don't I don't want to imagine what people will think of me. But if you don't push yourself to do that thing, and you don't push yourself to do that, then you're never going to become the person that you want to become. In order to be confident, in order to actually be a confident person, you have to be able to do the things that make you uncomfortable. You have to be able to push yourself to the things that you may struggle with at first. And that's the thing. You're never truly a confident person if you aren't struggling with something, because everybody who is confident has struggled with something. Everybody who is, really believing in themselves in some way, shape, or form has to push themselves to do the things that they don't always like to do. And that is another thing that we have to realize when it comes to being confident. It's all about repetition. It's all about repeating those reps. You might not be confident in lifting up a weight once, right? But if you maybe lift up that weight once, every single day, maybe by the next week, you'll be able to lift it up twice. And then maybe by the other week, you'll be able to lift it up 3 times or 4 times or 5 times. But if you don't repeat the things that make you uncomfortable, if you don't repeat the things that make you feel unconfident in yourself, and you don't repeat the things that make you feel like you can't do what you want to do, then you're never going to become a confident person. It's about repetition. It's about making yourself uncomfortable. And it's about remembering that unless you're uncomfortable, you're not really growing in the first place. A lot of us feel like, oh, well, I want to be a confident person, and I just, flip a switch and I just become that person. You cannot become something that you didn't work towards. You cannot become a person that you did not, actually work towards becoming and create. A lot of us create ideas and concepts of the person that we want to be, but we actually do nothing to work towards becoming that person. We just create a concept, we create an idea, and then it just sits there and it becomes nothing. So what does that do? When it sits there and it becomes nothing, then you have a visual idea and a visual concept of the person that you want to become. And because you're not becoming it, you just made yourself even less confident, because you're looking at the person who you can become, and you're looking at the person and imagining the person who you can become, but you're not working towards it, and you're not doing anything that can allow you to become that person. You're not putting in the effort. You're not putting in those reps. You're not making yourself uncomfortable. I have a challenge within myself, because a lot of the times I want to become this confident person. I want to become confident shooting videos. I want to become confident as a creator. I want to become confident in my own skin, but I don't allow myself to do the things that make me uncomfortable. I don't allow myself to do the things that make me feel really just anxious about myself. But unless you do those things, you're always going to feel uncomfortable. You're always going to be anxious, and you're always going to feel awful about yourself in general. Things that make us anxious only make us anxious because we try to avoid them. Anxiety is literally just you avoiding the present moment. If you're avoiding the thing that you need to do, and you're avoiding the thing that you need to work on or work towards, you're going to have anxiety about it. It's like having anxiety before a test, but you didn't study. You didn't study. So that's the reason that you have anxiety. You don't just have anxiety out of the blue. It's not like somebody just handed you a pill and just said, anxiety, here it is. And you just go, and you're just freaking out and shit. Like, no, that doesn't happen. Anxiety comes from you avoiding the things that you don't want to work on. It comes from you avoiding the present moment, and it comes from you not allowing things to just be. In order to be confident, you have to trust yourself. You have to trust the universe and trust that things are going to work out regardless of if you mess up once or twice or 3 times. No matter how many times you mess up, if you don't mess up the first time, you won't know what to do the second time. A lot of the times we also develop this fear, false evidence that appears real, that we can't work on what we want to work on, and we can't become that person that we want to become. The only way that we could become that person is by putting in those reps, repeating it, and one last thing, start being being more comfortable with yourself. Now, I guess that's kind of like combating itself, because it's like, okay, well, how do I be confident, but I'm also not comfortable with myself? Well, that's the first step. You have to be comfortable with yourself, and you have to spend time with yourself. And if you don't spend time by yourself, maybe journal, maybe talk to yourself, maybe even do what I'm doing and talk to a camera, you have to kind of hear yourself speak sometimes. And we don't realize that one of the biggest things that holds us back from being confident is how we speak to ourselves. How we speak to ourselves really does matter, because a lot of the times we let our external environment affect our internal beings. A lot of the times we let what people think and the things outside of us affect who we are. And we don't realize it because we're just speaking to ourselves so negatively, we don't really hear it. Maybe write down how you're feeling. Maybe speak to somebody about how you're feeling. Hear how you speak to yourself out loud and realize that you are the only person putting yourself down most of the time. You are the only person who really just doubts your abilities at the end of the day. You are the only person who really makes you feel so upset all the time. If you want to be confident, put in those reps, make yourself uncomfortable, spend more time with yourself, and realize that it's going to take time. And it's not an overnight thing. It's not something that you could just do right away. But at the end of the day, when you work towards that thing, when you just push yourself to do the things that you know you're capable of, but you just haven't done yet, when you actually push yourself, that is the moment that you become more confident.